Hello, Sagittarius, Sagittarius Rising, and Sagittarius Moon people. This is your weekly astrological and card forecast for the week starting January 23rd, 2017. And a quick reminder for you Sagittarius folks out there, if you did miss the Astrology Love webinar I did earlier this month, I do have another one this coming Thursday. And you can register for it at my website, integrativemysticism.com, where you'll be given all the contact details, and I'll be sending out documents on the classwork and all the like workbooks and things like that I'll be sending out will coming out Wednesday. So if you're interested in signing up for that, you can again go to my website, integrativemysticism.com, and register a spot for yourself. It's going to be a lot of fun. So what's going on with your astrology this week? Well, we've got a very different week from last week, let me reassure you. That's always important to remember when it comes to these weekly horoscopes. They're just for 1 week. And last week we had Mars crossing Chiron, and everyone was a lot more tense. Everyone had buttons to push, they were a lot more reactive, there was a lot more, bickering going on, a lot more hurt feelings going on. This week, not so much. This week we've got an opportunity for patching up, because we've got Venus crossing Chiron, Tuesday and Wednesday. And when Venus crosses Chiron, I always tell people it's a time to consider opportunities for redemption, second chances, and forgiveness. And this is going on in your 4th house of home and family. And this is definitely a week where if you feel like you need to strengthen the bonds or maybe even rebond with a relative or a roommate, or maybe this is actually more about, trying to heal a relationship with maybe a landlord or even a tenant, this is the week to do it. If you feel like things have become strained, things have become distant, things have become a little bit more hostile and difficult, whether it was because of last week or even before that, this is the time. Because with Venus crossing Chiron, it's talking about finally getting to the root of serious issues and actually clearing and healing those roots, not just covering them up with sugar coating and letting them stay there. Walls have come down because of the problems that have shown up in the last couple of weeks. Now walls need to stay down, and then we can still, we can all feel better about each other. So we can't put the walls back up, and Venus is going to be teaching us that, maybe the walls staying down is better for everyone in the first place. Maybe the walls were the problem in the first place. Later on in the week, we do have Mercury in Capricorn in your earned income sector, forming a gorgeous sextile to Neptune in your 4th house of home and family. And a relative may actually have come up with the perfect plan to create a new business, or even if you are looking for work, maybe offering to hire you or find you a job if you are looking for one. And even if you're not looking for a new job, a relative may actually have some kind of intel on a perfect job or income opportunity for you that you hadn't considered, something that they actually had designed already, or something that they already have some kind of in or skill with. And this may actually be a huge improvement on what you were planning to do with the rest of your year, so you might want to hear them out. So what is going on with your cards then, this week? Well, we do have the card of the Unseelie Queen for your spiritual advice. And the Unseelie Queen is one of the cards that always talks about paying attention to where people who talk big are not usually the people who are always being honest all the time this week. Because sometimes the Unseelie Queen, it always warns about hubris, it warns about opulence, it warns about superficiality, style-beating substance. And with the Unseelie Queen, you may find yourself in a situation where you might be easily seduced by somebody who knows how to dress and knows how to speak. But the thing about the Unseelie Queen is that she's usually pretty stupid. And the reason I say it that way is because, well, when we think about, say, like, people who are running pyramid schemes, or we think of people who are, maybe engaged in political activity who don't know what they're talking about, or people who are engaged in all kinds of that shady kind of business, they're really good at running their mouths in vague and subjective ways, but they're not actually good at giving any substance. They're just good at hype. And this week we've got a lot of hype surrounding, everyone around you. Maybe we might be needing to kind of bring a friend or a lover down to earth before they get sucked in by the Unseelie Queen. Or maybe you have to talk yourself out of a situation where you find out somebody who you thought was a pro was the Unseelie Queen themselves. For your Earth sector, when it comes to your work and finances, we do have the Two of Pentacles upright. And this card is saying that this week we're going to be actually in a position to make a lot of money, but be careful not to overburden yourself, because you're practically taking on the work of 2 different positions or 2 different jobs at once. And I think that with the Two of Pentacles, for those of you who are currently looking for new work, you don't necessarily have to commit to an option this week, but I think that as we get closer to the end of the week with that Mercury moving through Capricorn, a decision will be made for you. And this actually can be news to let people compete for you, alright, while we are juggling our options here. Let the balls drop. Whichever ball is meant to drop is going to drop. The process of elimination will work for you this week. The Two of Pentacles, though, in a nice way, can indicate, again, opportunities to make more money, taking on more. Or at least taking on something different half the time. You may be working at, this is one of those situations where it's kind of like billable hours, or even what you're paid on an hourly rate changes according to what job you're doing, and we get to do more than one. So this week may be quite profitable. For your communications with air when it comes to your friends, your relatives, and the others in your life, we do have the Three of Cups reversed. And this week you may be having to confront a problem where it might seem like some friends are in a bit of a squabble, or in some kind of, tiff, and they might not necessarily be trying to, bring you into it, but it's so obvious that there's a fight going on, it's just bringing everybody else down. And this is happening with your friends, it's happening within your clique. It's not necessarily something that's, that's like between a lover or, or anything like that. This is definitely just your friends. But one of the things with the Three of Cups reversed is that we got to pay attention to is, where is somebody feeling alienated, and where is the alienating happening? Is somebody trying to maybe make somebody feel uncomfortable on purpose, so they stop coming back, they stop hanging out in that group? Is somebody maybe they feel uncomfortable, maybe they feel alienated, and they're trying to maybe create a whole new group for themselves without one or two other people, so they can feel like they have some sense of control. This is going to come up a couple of times this week, so just be prepared. For your challenge this week with fire, again, we have the High Priestess reversed, somebody who does not know what they're talking about. And, I feel like a lot of this, because it's very female energy, the Queen and the High Priestess reversed, we are going to be dealing with a woman who doesn't know what she's talking about. It could just as easily be male, but there are male cards that pretty much say the same thing. And I'm wondering with the High Priestess reversed, who is trying to pass themselves off as an expert? Who is trying to get your goat? Who is trying to, who's trying to necessarily sell you on something that is not good for you, if that makes sense. But they're trying to make that happen. Because this week with the High Priestess reversed, we want to be careful not to take the wrong advice, or again, fall into, or get bitten by the vampire that is hype. Because a lot of people will get thought, that they're looking for extra, whatever, they're looking for good luck, they're looking for a big break. And those are the people who are the most vulnerable to get sucked in by people like the Unseelie Queen and the High Priestess reversed. And so you might want to find out if there is somebody who might be considered a bit of a scammer, or somebody who might just be lying about some kind of great opportunity they're trying to push off on you this week. And don't let yourself commit, or certainly put any money down when it comes to dealing with her. For your emotions with water and your romantic life, we do have the Death card reversed. This week can be kind of interesting in terms of love, because the Death card reversed can show up where we have to pay attention to where maybe a lover or a crush is kind of having a hard time getting over something from the past, and they don't necessarily know how to get over it the right way, in a healthy way. Okay? This could be talking about us, but I think that this could also be talking about a lover, so it could be like kind of a joint issue. Because the Death card reversed, we're out of balance with coping. Either we're rushing too fast to get over something, we're pretending everything's fine, we're throwing it all out the window, we're uprooting everything. The Death card reverse can indicate an imbalance of ending everything all the time, constantly ending things, constantly never nurturing things. Or B, holding on to everything, emotional hoarding. And this might not even have to do with your relationship, but this might be something that you worry about in the way you and your lover are coping with another problem. If we find out that it's like, look, you probably should be dealing with this and not just hold on to it, not just hide, not just run, all of those things. It's kind of a welfare check kind of week when it comes to checking in with your sweetheart and checking in on how this might be impacting the relationship, because even though it's coming from somewhere else. So that is your forecast, Sagittarius. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. And of course, if you'd like to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integratedmysticism.com.